This is absolute bang for your buck.
It's a rather approachable smartphone.
Xiaomi 15T Pro is remarkable.
Craftsmanship is top-notch.
Welcome back to Re-Review, where we watch all the reviews so you don't have to. Today we're diving deep into the Xiaomi 15T Pro. Xiaomi's T series aims to balance flagship features with affordability. But does this latest affordable flagship deliver? First up, let's talk about the look and feel.
The back of the phone is also quite unique. I'm usually not a fan of gold color phones, but I think Xiaomi picked a shade that's a little bit more subdued. Gold that in certain lightings can look a little bit like brown even, which I kind of like.
Surrounding all of this is an IP68 water and dust resistance rated body, including a glass fiber backing and an aluminum alloy frame in this special mocha gold colorway.
Its aluminum side rails are now more squared off, and it's actually thinner at 7.96mm. My favorite thing about its design has got to be its refined camera module. You see the lenses are now tucked behind the same camera island instead of sticking out, and the flash sits on the outside of the module on the backplate to make room for sensors like the IR blaster, which has now moved into the camera array. All this makes it feel like a solid premium flagship.
The screen is protected by Gorilla Glass 7i, not one of the toughest Gorilla Glasses out there, but pretty good at fending off scratches and cracks. And further protected by a screen protector, which is slapped on there to begin with. Xiaomi wasn't quite as forthcoming with the exact materials used for the back end, but I do appreciate the lovely matte finish, which is highly resistant to greasy smudginess.
Reviewers were almost universally impressed with the screen itself.
It is a 6.83-inch AMOLED. The peak brightness here is a crazy 3200 nits, and the pixels per inch is 447. It's a 1.5K resolution, 2772 by 1280. It's also got DC dimming, and it is HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision certified.
The screen also has a new, more rounded corner aspect ratio, which I like. It resembles an iPhone more like an Android phone. So this rounded corner results in a better in-hand field, and it also just looks a little bit more premium.
Even though it's supposed to have 144Hz refresh rates, when setting it to 144Hz, I could never quite manage to get it to go higher than 120. And when at 120, it stayed there most of the time. So in case you didn't notice, there is no LTPO tech here, just like last year.
And Xiaomi has managed to pack a pair of supremely beefy stereo speakers into the 15T Pro. They'll absolutely blow your tits off at the top volume. You got full Dolby Atmos support, high-res audio, etc.
Under the hood, the 15T Pro backs MediaTek's latest silicon. So how does it perform in real world?
They put the newest MediaTek Dimensity 9400 Plus. This processor is even comparable to Snapdragon 8 Gen Elite of the latest Samsung Galaxy S25. And whatever you do on that phone, you can also do it here with a cheaper price tag.
Gaming has also been flawless. Xiaomi's fancy pants Ice Loop 3D cooling system helps to keep things from getting toasty, so this phone never really gets any worse than slightly warm, even when you are gaming for the best part of 2 hours.
Right up here, the red cross is the hottest temperature, 39 degrees, which, to be honest, on a 20 loop cycle is very good. There was a pretty massive frame rate drop around the 18th loop, but then again, it bounced back pretty quickly.
But performance isn't just about the chip. The software experience, HyperOS, drew more mixed reactions.
The sheer amount of crapware that Xiaomi shovels onto its smartphones. When you're paying this much for a handset, I just prefer to not have all this bollocks stuffed on there to begin with.
The biggest win was I haven't seen a single ad on this phone. No idea what's going on, but this should be the norm.
Android 16 is already out, and Xiaomi literally just announced HyperOS 3 skinned over Android 16. Unfortunately, the Xiaomi 15T series devices stick to HyperOS 2 skinned over Android 15 out the box, with an expected release of OS 3 coming at the end of October 2025. So I guess we'll have to wait for all those new AI features, including Hyper Island, aka Dynamic Island. This is still a global device though, so we still get Google Discover out the box, along with Circle to Search and Gemini Live.
Now for the main event, the Leica branded cameras. Let's start with photography.
So that primary camera uses a 50 megapixel sensor. It does have optical image stabilization. And interestingly, this is a Light Fusion 900 image sensor. Telephoto here is also pretty interesting. It's also a 50 megapixel sensor. And this one also has optical image stabilization. That one's the equivalent of a 115mm lens. Now the last camera is a 15mm ultra wide. It uses a 12 megapixel sensor. This is the least strongest of the lineup, and it's good enough. It's not bad. It's not the best I've ever seen from Xiaomi.
Color remains consistent across all three lenses with crisp textures and refined edges. Every shot feels balanced, vibrant, and clear, delivering professional results without extra effort.
I do find the Leica colors in standard camera mode to be a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they can look quite good, and other times skin tones are too desaturated, greens and blues are overly vibrant, and there's a bit too much contrast for my taste. What I did is shot in pro mode where you can make your own presets.
I'm a little bit torn on having a zoom lens go all the way up to 115 millimeter because for normal portraits of friends, 5x feature, it's a little bit too long. So that means you have to step back quite a bit just to take that portrait.
The ultrawide shows its true age at night and is certainly its weakest link, while the main camera takes great snaps at nights aside from some questionable light noise handling.
The video capabilities also got a lot of attention, both for what they can do and what they can't.
When it comes to video, you can actually shoot in 8K on this device up to 30 frames per second and even 4K at up to 120 frames per second, which is really useful if you want to film slow-mo footage.
The Xiaomi 15T Pro delivers footage worthy of a flagship. Stabilization ensures handheld shots glide smoothly, giving every frame a professional finish. Add in the refined microphones and sound feels crisp, background noise fades, and each video resonates with cinematic clarity.
Another big feature for a mid-tier phone is the ability to film in log. LUTs are only for monitoring, so they are not burnt into the video, which is great.
Starting with front-facing camera, 4K 30 FPS, that's the highest frame rate you can get. And I must say that I like how much wider the field of view is on new Xiaomi 15T Pro.
You can take a better look at stabilization. Overall, I find it's okay. You do need to keep a steady hand, otherwise it does look a bit shaky. If you want extra stabilization, you can turn on shoot steady, which does crop in a small amount. Here, the footage is nice and smooth. There are a couple of feature limitations I noticed in video mode. Motion tracking, so that means tap to track, doesn't work in 60 FPS and in 8K. Things like Leica filters, bokeh, and beautify only work in up to 1080 30p in both the normal and pro video camera.
That new telephoto lens is a major talking point. Let's dig into its performance.
T this year clearly stands for telephoto. Xiaomi touts that the zooms on the 15T Pro will look especially great up to 10 times. Going beyond 20x on the camera turns on Xiaomi's Ultra Zoom 2.0, which is their way of saying heavier post-processing.
My favorite among all has to do with the periscope lens, which is the 5 times optical zoom at 115 mm. Because this captures some of the very intricate details of structures or just capturing candid moments from a distance.
But it's important to keep its performance in perspective against the true premium flagship.
I actually compared it to the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. Look at the grass here on the Ultra, and this is the 15T. Wow, that is a pretty big difference actually. Especially when it came to the telephoto zoom lens, because that's the biggest hardware difference. The Xiaomi 15 Ultra telephoto zoom lens is light years ahead of anything that Samsung has done or anything that iPhone has done, because iPhone and Samsung telephoto zoom lens looks the same as this guy.
Moving away from the cameras, the battery life is one of this phone's biggest strengths.
Same exact battery capacity, so it's the 5,500 milliamp hours.
For the life of me, I could not kill this thing in a day. I was so impressed. This chip is super efficient. Paired with a 5,500 milliamp hour, you cannot kill it. Literally day one, okay? Where's my Pixel? Here's a nice comparison. Day one, I had about 2 hours and 20 minutes of screen on time, day one, and I had 14% left. And I took it to Twitter and said, what the F is this? People told me the Pixels take time to settle in and then you get better battery life. They were right. Day one, 2 hours and 36 minutes of screen on time, and I had 80% left. And on that same day, I think I ended it with about 4 hours and 22 minutes of screen on time, and I still had 56% left.
When it comes to recharging, however, I believe that Xiaomi's actually knocked it down a bit compared with the previous generation, which supported 120 watt wide charging support. You've got 90 watt wide charging. Downgrades are always a disappointment, of course. And you've got support for physical as well as eSIM on the Xiaomi 15T Pro. Yeah, you've got Wi-Fi 7 support.
There is a feature on this phone which is brand new in Europe, and I've never heard of this before. It's called Xiaomi's Astral Communication. This actually allows the Xiaomi 15T Pro to communicate with other Xiaomi devices at up to 1.9 kilometers away without data and without Wi-Fi.
So with a starting price of €799, is the Xiaomi 15T Pro worth it?
The phone literally just got announced with a starting price of €799, which is the exact same price as last year's 14T Pro when it launched.
I genuinely felt like many of us are being taken advantage of and getting ripped off by Apple and Samsung and Google by getting slower charging, less battery, boring looking photos, and less storage.
A fast charging, far zooming, colorfully capturing, long-lasting offering like this shows how Xiaomi works hard to dot the I's and cross the T's.
The Xiaomi 15T Pro has kept me genuinely happy. It stands as one of the best flagships on the market, an all-round performer that delivers everywhere it matters.
So it mostly just comes down to a case of can you stand HyperOS or not, basically, as to whether you should grab this over the likes of a Samsung Galaxy S25 FE. And if you're even considering the Apple iPhone 16e, then Jesus Christ, do yourself a favor and grab this instead.
So what's the consensus on the Xiaomi 15T Pro? Overall, the reviewers see it as a remarkable device that delivers true flagship performance, especially in battery life and camera versatility, at a price that undercuts the big names. The standout feature is undeniably the new 5x periscope telephoto lens, which brings a level of photography capability rarely seen outside of top-tier premium flagships. The display is gorgeous and the performance is more than capable for even heavy users and gamers. However, it's not without its trade-offs. The biggest pain point is the software. While HyperOS is smooth and has some unique features, its bloatware and quirks might be a deal-breaker for some. Other minor drawbacks include a weak ultra-wide camera, particularly at night, and that the step down in charging speed from the previous generation. So who's this phone for? If you're a mobile photography enthusiast who craves a versatile zoom lens but can't stomach the price of a flagship Ultra, this one's the most compelling option on the market. It's also an excellent choice for power users who prioritize all day and then some battery life, and top-tier performance for gaming and multitasking. But if you value a clean, stock Android experience or absolutely need the fastest charging possible, you might want to consider alternatives. For most people, however, the Xiaomi 15T Pro offers a powerful, well-balanced package that provides incredible value for money. That's it for our ultimate roundup review of Xiaomi 15T Pro. Please find full videos down below and come back for more re-reviews where we watch old reviews so you don't have to.